Hello there! Welcome to this episode on Confluence site design concepts and spaces. You can build a successful Confluence site containing many different spaces in several different ways. It basically gets down to the type and quantity of information that you choose to combine inside any one space. This will affect how many individual spaces exist inside your space directory. There is not necessarily always a right or wrong way to do this, but you will create different experiences based on your choices. In this episode, we will explore some of the concepts for building a successful Confluence site and introduce Confluence spaces. Let's jump in. Before you dive straight in and begin creating spaces on your Confluence site, it's often useful to pause and decide what the end result of what you need will actually look like. The open structure of Confluence is one of its great strengths. However, this means that you can build your Confluence site in several different ways. Each one will give a different experience to the end user. There are several things to consider. For example, how your teams interact and what is the most logical way to organize your data. This may be through individual or combined spaces. Confluence allows you to store individual categories of information in completely separate spaces, such as team spaces, knowledge-based spaces, or documentation spaces. However, it is a good idea to keep the end user of Confluence in mind as you design your structure. It can be annoying for users when presented with dozens of separate spaces if each space contains only 1 or 2 pages of actual information. This is spreading your data too thin. In these cases, it is often more logical and a better overall user experience to build fewer but larger spaces that combine several chunks of related information. One consideration is how much information you will actually store inside any one space. Keep this simple and think in terms of big, medium, or small chunks of information. Where you have large sets of related information, for example, large technical manuals, knowledge bases, or team spaces to help your team collaborate better, then you should probably create individual spaces to hold each of these data sets separately. The alternative is to combine a wider range of related information into a single combined space. This often happens with things such as spaces designed to store project information. This combines many related pieces of information or different categories into the same space. Using a simple parent and child page tree navigation structure inside the space will separate different categories of information. This can give a better end-user experience to visitors. If documentation expands in any area, we can easily move entire groups of pages to a different space at any time. Moving groups of pages from one space to another is a simple process. This allows us to adjust the structure of our Confluence site when we need to. See our page editing episodes for more information. You also have to take account of things like security through space permissions, page restrictions, and whether you plan to offer access to anonymous visitors to any of your spaces. Anonymous access allows visitors, for example, your customers or colleagues from another area of your business, to access parts of your site without logging into Confluence, where they can open and read your documentation. An example of this is the Confluence Online Help System, which is stored in Confluence. This is kept in a separate space for security, and this space is open to internet visitors. Clarifying your needs first, then designing for these often results in a better user experience and a more logical structure for your Confluence site. Let's talk some more about what the term space actually means. You'll hear the word space a lot when using Confluence. A space is simply the term that describes a container for related content. Think of a space as a sub-site or mini-site within Confluence. There are 2 types of spaces: personal spaces for users to store their personal work, and site spaces. Site spaces are designed for collaboration and joint authorship of documentation. Several space templates are shipped with Confluence to help you get started. For example, there are space templates designed for team collaboration or for your documentation or knowledge base needs. Space templates provide basic starting points to help you get up and running faster. When you create your own spaces, choose the closest match for your needs and build what you need inside the space from there. To help you build different types of content inside your space, there are many page templates available, all just one click away. For more information on page templates, watch our episode on page templates and blueprints, and also our page editing episodes. The blank space template builds exactly that an empty container. You can fill this space with whatever types of page content that you need, using the Create button inside the space. For example, you could add file lists to manage uploaded files, meeting notes, product requirements, standard pages, blogs for communication, or any of the many page templates available. Documentation spaces are designed to help you create and organize documentation for your products or processes. This is a common task for many organizations, and this template helps you to standardize this type of content. Knowledge bases are great for creating self-help support or frequently asked question sites. Their troubleshooting articles are easily created, and the space will organize these for you. The Team Space template helps teams to collaborate and gives them a space to store their team and project information. It includes a blog for communications. Each team can add whatever other page content they require to fit their needs. You can also create and store the specialized articles offered by documentation or knowledge base spaces inside regular team spaces or blank spaces. Confluence is very flexible. There are many design choices you can make with Confluence. This is why spending some time to consider how many spaces you will build and what they will contain is quite important. The first process we went through was not actually building our Confluence site. It was discussing with our team individually, then as a group, what their needs actually are. This gave us an insight into where our teams crossed over with their work and needs, and directly affected the way we designed our Confluence site. Let's look at the Confluence design we used after discussing the options with our teams. In our space directory, each of our spaces has been categorized, which automatically builds our navigation structure. These are the personal spaces for some of our team members. Personal spaces give our colleagues a place to store and build wiki pages that are relevant to them alone, or their particular role. They are also very useful for users who are new to the group authorship and collaboration that Confluence offers. They can be a useful learning area for new users until they become more comfortable with the tools, macros, and the collaborative page editing practices of Confluence. The Team Space category displays all of the separate team spaces that we have. Each one of our teams have their own team space. This allows them to create whatever their particular team requires. It also allows other teams to find and contact them easily. Our documentation spaces contain the installation and user guides for all of our major products and services. When things go wrong with our products or services, our teams and customers can simply refer to our separate knowledge base spaces. These spaces are filled with troubleshooting articles that help to solve problems. Troubleshooting articles are easy to create, and the space organizes them for us. Under our projects category, we have a number of spaces dedicated to several of our own projects. Many of our project spaces are jointly owned by different teams and contain several categories of information related to the project. When our projects are complete, some of the content might be moved to other more appropriate spaces. For example, if documentation articles have been created inside these project spaces, they could be moved to more permanent documentation or knowledge-based spaces after the project is complete. The great thing about Confluence is how adaptable it is. You can design in a way that suits your business and your needs. However, if you require professional help to structure your Confluence site in the best way possible, you can contact Atlassian to find a consultant in your area. Consult the Atlassian website for more information. And that's us. Until next time, enjoy and have fun.